Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cast and Spirit podcast. My name is John. Today we have back on the show Lindsay Philpott, an expert in knot making. He has 5 books. You can find him on theknotguy.com. Today we are going to be covering decorative knots. Welcome to the show, Lindsay.
Thank you very much, John. Good to be back.
So can you give us a little primer? What are decorative knots?
Decorative knots are anything which is not a standard knot. Anything which somebody says is decorating a piece that I want to have is a decorative knot, and that's the bottom line. A decorative knot can be really, really helpful if you are going to be doing any kind of work that involves water. And yes, I know fish live in water, and we get to deal with slippery fish when they come on board. So why not have something which increases the amount of friction that you can gain on a particular element that you're working with? If you're working with a tool, maybe you're working with an awl like this, cover the end of it with a decorative knot, and you've got a much better grip on it to be able to use it better. If you are on a boat and you're moving up and down stairs, form an ocean plat mat, and that's just simply the name given to an overhand knot that has been extended. And you'll have a nice, comfortable place to put your feet that then prevents slipping, because there's a lot of friction that is developed by having a decorative knot. So should I put a French hitching wrap around the gaff rod that I use? Yeah, absolutely. That'll make it less slippery, and you'll be able to hang on to it much better when you're trying to hook that 200-pound flatfish coming on board.
Are there any decorative knots that, say, like a person who wants to put it on their gaff or their rod hasn't considered, or is kind of unique that you've never really seen out there that people can kind of look up and go add to their collection?
One of the best that I've ever seen, and I've only done this once in my life, and that is to put your own name in knots on the handle of your rod. It's been done in a number of places that I've seen, and only done it once myself. But it's done with half hitches, which are probably the simplest form of knot. And that is something that is highly decorative and also highly functional, because now you've not only put your own name on the piece of equipment that you rely on, but you've also done it in a very decorative fashion so as to make you an outstanding person.
I want one of those. That sounds amazing. And then, do you think that by practicing or getting into decorative knot making just inherently will make you a better knot tyer for your fishing?
Yes, absolutely. Because what you'll learn more and more is that friction is everything about knot tying. So knots don't work unless you have friction. And if you can understand friction, and you understand that more friction equals better grip, then you understand a lot about knots that other people tend to have either forgotten or never knew. And so you'll be that much further ahead, and you'll be able to tie knots that much easier and that much more quickly if you understand decorative knots in the same way. Now, you don't have to be tying things that are like horse tack, where they have these multiple braided pieces of leather work. That's a very complicated knot, and is a very difficult one to make. And at the end of the day, does it provide any better grip, which is what you're after? No, not really. So, rely on the fact that you're looking for more grip, you're looking for better function, and decorative knots is where it's at. The simpler decorative knots are better.
If you had to give us 3 decorative knots to go look up on Google just to go admire, what would...
French hitching, Moku hitching, M-O-K-U hitching, and I would say ocean plat mat. Plat is spelled P-L-A-I-T, so ocean plat mat. The ocean plat mat is very straightforward to make, and can be made by anyone who can tie an overhand knot, and it works very well to make a nice comfortable footrest or a place to put your tackle box so that it's not going to slide all over the cockpit.
Awesome. I'm going to have to go look those up. Is there anything else we should consider about decorative knots that we should have asked you?
They're not just for people who want to decorate their wedding dress. The decorative knots that are in use have been in use for hundreds, if not thousands of years, in making all kinds of braids, in making all kinds of plaits, in making all kinds of, frankly, multi-filament line. And you can learn a lot by understanding how decorative knots are made into those structures, and therefore get a better understanding of how you can use it to your advantage.
All right, so that's a perfect place to stop. Tomorrow, guys, we are going to be learning about splicing and how to do it efficiently. Thanks for being on the show, Lindsay, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, one more thing before you go. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and your favorite podcast app. And if you like the podcast, please consider rating it on Apple Podcasts and leaving a review. This helps other people find the show. Thanks.